Tony Reali, would you like to make a verdict here? We think that
Stars are banged up.
I'm just amused. I love Stu feeling these emotions in his life where everything is going to work out great. And it's wonderful because we have such a history of year upon year of success. Oh, no. You should be panicked. You should be pulling your hair out right now, Stu. What are you talking about?
You're not giving the people the authentic heartbreak that they want today. New York, Stugotz, they dared to hope. I'm not saying that it's hopeless. It can't start worse than that.
It can't, Dan, but if you asked any Knick fan, hey, Eastern Conference Finals home court advantage before the season, they'd be like, yeah, we'll take it. Sign me up. That feels good.
That's just a coping strategy. What you're doing now is you're trying to lower expectation.
I am. Thank you.
So that the fall from the top of this mountain is not going to hurt you.
It's all self-protection. He won't show us his real feelings. This is caveman male behavior from him. He's wrapped in armor.
An admirable trait. It comes from a place of being a Jets fan. It comes from a place, we get what that is. But there is a part of the Knicks that is Jets, and that is Mets. There isn't a part of the Knicks that is Yankees in that way. The fans may feel they're that, but they're not. There is a trait, a DNA sequence in the New York Knicks that leans Mets and Jets.
How did you feel as somebody who loves New York, I would say?
I have melancholy of missing out right now. I said this to somebody this week because this show's ending in the middle of the playoffs, Dan. Now I'm beginning to at least feel a little bit like, what? In the middle of the playoffs? I've waited for this story for 20 years to talk about New York basketball, and I'm not even going to see it to the end. I went to the game a couple games ago. I see all my colleagues courtside and in press row. I went as a fan just to hang out with some friends, and I'm not even going to see it to the end. So now I'm experiencing that, and I'm watching how good these games are, and it's just like, I'm going to have a chance to talk about it today on Around the Horn, but I won't next week. And that's now something that's in this part. It hits me here. It hits me right here.
Well, can I hire you as a Meadowlark New York Knicks correspondent better than Sam Morril to do something after Around the Horn?
You don't have enough? You've got Stu. Stu, I am impressed, honestly, by your positivity today.
Thank you.
It's something that I find aspirational.
Thank you.
I think that you've got Stu, you got it covered.
Do you know how sad it is when Tony Reali is looking for inspiration for positivity? And that's the sign that this is rock bottom.
And I found it in Stugotz.
This is Tony's fault. I spent too much time with him, talking to him.
We had a wonderful conversation, Stu. Stu asked questions. He asked the tough questions. He asked the questions Dan Patrick won't ask, right? And that was a wonderful thing. So Stu and I shared a moment this week, and he may have taken on my overall outlook of life with the New York Knicks, which is undeserved. That you should not have that outlook with the Knicks. They haven't earned it.
Man, a guy that's going to be out of work soon. Dan offered him a job, and he said no. That's sad. That's pathetic.
That's bottom.
I thought he said he wanted to work around the Knicks. He's going to miss it so much, and then he's offered.
Not for us.
Sounds
like Dan Patrick. I don't know.
I'll be yelling at a street corner. I'll be yelling for you. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I just wanted that. To see a season to the end and not end on May 23rd, going away to the end of the
unhouselessness over us.
Yeah.
You're making the media rounds these days. I'm reading a lot of things about you all of a sudden.
I said yes to everybody, which is, somebody called me a recluse, Dan, this week. The usually reclusive Reali. I've been on TV every day for 25 years. I think I felt like I had my voice out there. I didn't need to do interviews every day, but I was what I was appreciative of? I came on. You said, come on the show that one day the press release came out or whatever it was. I was basically holding a phone in front of, I was on the screen. I just came on. It was the worst photo you could possibly. Now that's the photo they put out there. What awful announcing is like, we polled 5 people in our office and Around the Horn was just okay. Well, thanks for that article, awful announcing. And this is the photo we're going to put a Reali out there too.
Yeah, your hair was terrible in it. You looked unprofessional. You looked.
I dropped the phone onto my crotch in the middle of it.
Yeah, it was embarrassing. As an audition for America, it was embarrassing. You seemed nervous as well. But things
you did that to me. You loved it.
But now look at you. to now soaring, through the sky, turning down job offers, have competition for all of a sudden everyone's like, look at this positive television sports person who can do live things well. Perhaps he's been in a cage at ESPN and is now going to soar freely through the cosmos.
I never felt I was in a cage. I'd be the circus animal who'd be dancing along in the cage like, hey guys, how we doing? I'm too much of a pleaser to begin with.
Okay, well, pleaser, you've made the media rounds here recently on a show that had more episodes. I saw Pablo wrote this the other day. More episodes than Oprah. More episodes than Jerry Springer. There was somebody else I'm forgetting.
Letterman, it was on there. These are talk shows, right? I mean, Sesame Street and Simpsons have incredible numbers, and maybe we're at a higher number than that, but those aren't talk shows. I'm just having to generate show every day. Those are the numbers. And PTI is even above us by another 200 episodes. So yeah, that's pretty great. That's in the top 10 all time in the history of that medium. If you trust Wikipedia.
Art of Conversation.
It was a good run.
It was
a good run.
Art of Conversation is what you hit me with. It was
Reali,
two.
Tyson,
It was 2 episodes.
2 episodes.
Yes.
Reali and Ricky.
2 episodes.
Yeah. Oh, Ricky, huh?
No, not
it was
Ricky.
Tyson.
I said Tyson.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
You see where
Chris didn't know what he was doing.
You know what I was doing there.
They had Ricky in the can. It didn't get picked up. Do you have the unreleased Ricky Art of Conversation?
Do we have the rights to that? We should air that.
It was unnecessary. We're celebrating this man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can give me. I can take anything you got. That's fine.
Well, but
we're taking shots at him.
They're making fun of the Art of Conversation,
Yes.
a 2-episode show that
the
I
idea
had.
of what a talk show is. Somebody was critical of me today because I had allowed to say that there were journalists on our show, and they even practiced journalism from occasion because I didn't acknowledge it was a show. A sports show, an entertainment show. I mean, I didn't think that was needing to be said, right? I mean, I think that do we take ourselves too seriously? Nobody in my life would imagine that. I think
he might actually literally be thinking about the art of conversation.
He doesn't know about the show.
He doesn't know about it.
It was only 2 episodes. How should he know?
Tony,
Brady
you're not
was
remembering
doing
his
his own
own
show.
show, which aired.
People are still talking about it.
He was faking it. He can do that. He's a professional television person. He can roll with anything. He has no idea what the Art of Conversation is. Mm-hmm. It was a joke you made to cut me, and it was funny to the people in our audience who saw either of those 2 episodes or have heard us talk about it. But Reali doesn't know what you're talking about.
Were you ever tuned in to ESPN2 at 2 a.m. in the morning in the year 2017?
I was sabotaged
for a 2-week period.
I missed those 2 episodes, but a
lot of people did.
There was a third.
They're important in the story that
didn't
we're
get a prime time slot.
Barstool Van Talk had a longer run.
Wasn't given a real shot. Not the point when I'm talking about Around the Horn, one of the great success stories in the history of ESPN and in sports television. And he now leaves the job, and you guys should know the conversation around it, by the way, because your last show is next Friday, Tony, and then you're going to come
this
down
Friday.
here?
But thanks for keeping up with my life.
Sorry, okay. This
Tomorrow,
Friday.
I'm on here. You're the second to last person I'm going to talk to. Kornheiser gets that last one on Friday morning, and that's where we are. And then on Friday afternoon, I'm going to be taking the boat over to the studio for the last time, and we got our finale planned.
Forgive me for this. I have been very in tune with your life, as you know, over the last many months, and you've been running toward this springboard with trepidation and excitement because it's an entirely new life for you. But while you're making these media rounds, I'm seeing someone who is my friend, an exceedingly kind person, a light all the time, having to make arguments against Jay Mariotti about your show or ESPN being too political or too woke when all I've ever seen you to be politically on air is kindness and decency.
Yeah, I don't know where, I don't know where it really started. I'm not that person, but I know what I am, so that's fine. I don't feel like I have to respond to anybody. I don't mind responding. I still, in my head, am scoring those arguments. You write an article about the show that is even viewing it in a critical eye, prove why your opinion is right. But if you're not going to give me examples of the reason why you feel this way, why the show got too serious because on the week that a Denver Broncos player died by suicide, Woody Page wrote a column about his depression, and we talked about it on the TV show. That's taking you too serious. I can understand that some people view one show as only one thing. This is only an escape, and I only want to see faces get muted, and but the show could evolve to something else as well and aspire to be something else for 30 seconds, for 60 seconds, and then go back to whatever it was we were doing before. I was proud to be on a show that had that type of flexibility and agility, and I thought that, and I think the network should be happy about that. That it's not just cowboy hat wearing cowboys stink, and it's not just good cop, bad cop on the show that I love more than anything, PTI. Then there was a moment where somebody may have be bearing a soul for 30 seconds, and then the same breath we'll be talking about who you got, Aaron Judge versus Shohei Ohtani. In my life, I like to do it all. I like to do everything. So the conversations in our show I was hopeful that they were everything, but I can understand people feel differently.
How's the last week been for you?
It's been great. Oh, I got to see Michael Smith, who I hadn't seen in years. I got to see Israel Gutierrez is around us. I got to see all some old friends that hadn't been on the show for a while. I have enjoyed every second of it. This is the weird thing about goodbyes. I've had a long goodbye, too long of a goodbye if I had my pick. I don't think we should be saying goodbye the show, but now that it's been decided and we're saying goodbye, I'm enjoying that, right? Because you don't usually get to go out on your own terms, and maybe somebody might. No one said anything to me. I haven't heard a thing from anybody, even in this week. But it's going to be a great week. We're watching. I haven't heard that from anybody. I don't need to hear that. So I'm going out the way I want to go out, which means I'm going to be the real ones know that the first 2 minutes of tomorrow's show are going to have a very Reali moment. I'm going to recreate something that means a lot to me. And the back end of the show is going to have the scoring explained, because I'm happy to do that. And we're going to see our 8 greatest panelists, our 8, biggest winners in the show's history for the breadth of the show.
How difficult was it to pick the panelists for this week? Because I'm sure you wanted everyone part of it. I'm sure everyone wanted. I
wanted to go with the $30, Chris. When Atlanta gets a snowstorm and they show the weather people in an 18 box or whatever it is, and they're all pulling their hair out because there's an inch of snow. I wanted that. We couldn't necessarily pull that off. I think it's pretty easy when you look at the final standings, which we do. Stu, when you're on the show, we sent you a research packet. You never opened that up.
No.
There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
But if you had opened it up, the last page of every research packet was the all-time standings, because I wanted everyone to be competitive about that. Yeah. So we have a pretty clear top 8, actually, of wins and appearances. So that's what it came down to. I think you would know the list. Of course, you can't do tomorrow's show, the finale, without Woody Page and Bob Ryan and Tim Kalishaw and Jay Adande and Kevin Blackistone. I'm going to be able to welcome Jackie McMullen back as well, which is great. Frank Isola is on the show tomorrow, which I love. And Pablo's going to be in the house, but he didn't crack the win percentage because of all those terrible predictions he had. But
would I be in that 30 box, Tony? Would I be in that 30 box?
Would you crack the top 30?
Yeah.
No, I think Lil Wayne would be pressing you out right there.
Oh, that's too bad.
He had an incredible take in his FaceTime. Just went back and watched it. This is Lil Wayne just dropping in for an episode because he was a fan of the show. He had just won, Grammys, and he was on his way to having 8 root canals. 8 root canals. I remember this because I was tracking what he was doing the week after, and the story came out. But his FaceTime was, I've spent my whole life with this fear of Lawrence Taylor, LT, the toughest guy in the world, the toughest football player in the world. Oh, he's going out there like a pack of crazed dogs, LT, and he talked about how great of a player he was. And they said, now LT is on Dancing with the Stars. Little Twinkle Toes, LT. And I thought it was what a great FaceTime. So sorry, Stu, that knocked out the moment where you appeared as the enlarged mononucleose spleen of Sam Darnold, your Jets quarterback, who was at that time out with mono.
Yeah. I won that week, too.
You did. You deserved the win. You dressed up as a spleen on international television. And the first words you said was, Tony, let me spleen something to you. All right, I got some spleening to do here. I mean, how could I not reward that? So, yes, this was a show that took itself very seriously. I thought of myself as 60 Minutes and Meet the Press as I was interviewing a spleen on TV.
How does this work for you in terms of being surprised?
Look at that face right there. That's my surprise face too. That's listening face. That's surprise.
His hair.
I'm sorry, Dan. I interrupted you.
That's my young face.
That's okay.
That's your young face. Look, but why is your hair wet?
He showered for your show.
Yes,
He showered.
But
That was him cleaning up for television.
A lot of gel. Yeah.
It was at Dan's wedding.
Yeah.
When you were rolling in well after the ceremony, why watch Dan get married?
Right.
Brushing his teeth.
You took a shower with a water bottle. I saw it
In a guy's driveway.
on the walk
Yeah.
from the car to where we were, and you put water in your hair. You like that look, huh?
I do.
He's
Yeah.
brushing his teeth behind the bush.
We were all there. I mean, we saw it. We were all there. You can't run from that. That's why that man is not worried about the Knicks, because he knows when it comes down to it, he's going to be able to brush his teeth on the way to somebody's most important moment of their lives and wash his hair with the water bottle.
Can you take us through here when you're talking about how great this week has been, whatever goodbye is going to be, and however you want the punctuation on this thing to look tomorrow? I am certain that you will get emotional. I know I did. And I did a show that I was very proud of that didn't have a third of the run
The Art of Conversation.
of your show. You have something in your legacy that very few people ever get, which is a community of a generation of people who care about something that you did on television. And so what's going to happen tomorrow as you say goodbye? What are you imagining as you walk in, and what are you leaving?
I mean, this week, just to start with that, I've had to already say goodbye to now 10 panelists, 15 panelists. They won't be on tomorrow's show. Their spirit will be there, yada, yada. So, I mean, to see Harry Lyles yesterday was very emotional talking about it, because I know what's behind that, too. I really do. We've done the work, Harry and I, together, and I tried to do that with every panelist. But I know what he's feeling and what he's talking about, because he was a reporter, much like myself when I was 25 on TV as a host. We all had imposter syndrome, and we're faking it until we make it and doing everything, right? And he's just imagining himself. What am I going to be thinking? Well, that first 2.5 minutes of the show where I am going to be in Tony performer mode, which is naturally me, but it's going to be, I'm not going to get emotional at that. My kids are going to be on set. I have a special guest on set that is probably going to make me not get emotional. It's going to make me giggle and have fun. So the first segments of the show will be that. I'm going to have some close people to me right off camera too, which is probably going to throw me for a loop a little bit when I am in the moment of the show. But I'm going to be very focused on Woody and Bob and Tim and J.A. and making sure that they get their moment too. I'm the star in my own movie, but everybody's the star in their own movie. So
Chris, is this him dinging?
Is
that who's dinging around here?
That's me. So, I don't know if you know this, but I'm also, doing Around the Horn today.
Yeah, you're very popular. You're very popular.
What was the ding you heard? I have to do the twinkle from Back to the Future.
It's fine.
Is that a copyright now that you guys are going to be charged
when
for
you come down here later? When you come down here in a month, $5 you owe us, because that's not.
Sorry about that.
That's not allowed.
Let me turn it off. So I'm going to be too present. There's my mononucleose. Definitely.
Sam Darnold's spleen, ladies and gentlemen. This is Stugotz breaking through to stardom.
To the costume, right? I mean, you can see that was touched by the finest seamstress in land.
We didn't have much of a costume budget then, I don't think.
That just looks terrible. If you look at it at a different angle, it's just even going to a worse place than the spleen. Oh my goodness! How did we allow that on TV?
Let me ask you.
What a great question. Did the Nats win it or did the Astros blow it?
This is what you want, a spleen answering. See, that's so that way. Wait, let me get that right. So then that had to be like Game 3 of the World.
Yeah.
I heard, Tony, when you came into the broadcast, I heard someone say that you were shaking your head before you came on because someone said something around here about mental fortitude. That you immediately, who was it? Was it Stugotz talking about mental fortitude?
Yes. Intestinal fortitude, mental fortitude. You had said maybe even the word tortured soul. So of course, this is what I'm walking into. I didn't know what I was listening to. I thought you were talking about me. So, I mean,
you always do. You always do. That's what television distorts. Yes,
but mental fortitude. That would be a banned phrase on Around the Horn if we made it to season 24.
That is correct because no matter what the critics would say about that show, it did do it differently and it made things smarter. It was viewed and weaponized as a political vehicle just because Tony proudly gave diverse voices a chance to speak on a stage where ESPN was woefully deficient in that area. These were groundbreaking shows that Eric Rydholm proceeded over, and this one ends, and I'm reading reports with this, that they wanted Tony and Mike to do twice the show now, but they weren't, the reports are saying, they weren't offering them more money to do more of the shows, but clearly what was built there is being pushed out because you still haven't gotten a good explanation from anybody.
Yeah, I've had to live with the idea that, I mean, do I need one? I've gone through, moments where I'm like, do I need one? Do I not need one? I have to now because of the absence of any explanation and any communication. They've got their hands full, and they have to be understanding that, I have to be understanding that they're dealing with things that are, very serious. So they have to be addressing those, and they've already made their decision. I thought I could change their mind for many, many months. And maybe there was a plan. I would have to believe and hope there was a plan. But I don't know if I had it explained to me. I know I definitely said, well, this is going away. You know what if I was in the business of running things, I would be paying the highest rated show all the money in the world and asking them to work as long as I possibly could. So I don't think it would be the best PTI if PTI expanded from 30 minutes to an hour, but I sure as heck would want the highest rated show and my friends to be making so much more money to do more work. Absolutely. That's what I would have approached it as. Yeah.
But you're proud of what you made.
Of course, Dan. I'm proud. I mean, I still will believe it's good that there's different shows on the network and there's different voices on the network and the shows that do different things. So I will be more than I always felt PTI and Around the Horn. And I will say this proudly. It wasn't the ESPN PTI 30 minutes. It was the ESPN happy hour. You can tell me any way. I know this show was driving ratings that they had to be happy and proud of, because I've seen press releases for shows at our network that they've been happy and proud of, and the ratings weren't even that. And the ratings growth wasn't even what we had the day the first report came out that they were thinking about it. So I know what that is. I've heard from people who know the business a lot more than me, how profitable a show this was. I have an idea how profitable it was because people have written about other shows and their wonderful contracts, and everybody should be making all the money in the world. But hearing all these wonderful things, I know our show had to be incredibly profitable for a network. And that fills me with a little bit of pride from a business side of it. But that doesn't mean anything to me when I wake up in the morning and go to bed at night after doing a show. I wanted to put great content out there, great shows out there, fun shows, because I think more than anything, I have to say this now because somebody thought I was being serious at times in our 50,000 episodes, and I was happy to be heartful would be the word I would use. We had fun. So this was a fun show. And PTI Around the Horn, highly questionable. I know in my heart, and I know viewers have told me this for 20 years plus, those shows feel different. They feel different than what the network does, and that's good. You should want different. That's how I feel.
You've always been very cool about being publicly vulnerable and honest. So I am legitimately curious about this because I haven't asked you this off air. Yeah. In what tomorrow will be for you at the punctuation of an incredible run, do you think you'll have 100% gratitude without any of the hurt or the I know we can put.
Yeah, I think I'm there. I think I'm already there. That's about me releasing the need for an explanation or me knowing. I've had my 2 conversations over 5 months, and I don't know if I'm getting another one. I would welcome another one. I would welcome another one today. Even someone saying, I know you had a big show tomorrow. We'll be watching, and the shows have been great. That would be nice to hear, but I don't need to hear that. I've had 6 months really to deal with this, Dan. And you've been on the other end of the call many times.
Hold on, Tone.
Yes.
But hold on. If I just may, right? Like you're putting a brave face on that. And yeah, it's business. Nobody has to care about you. You're not owed anything. That's what the money's for. They paid you. But it sounds like what you're saying is some form of, hey, does someone over there want to give me a hug because we did a nice thing here together for 23 years? And
okay.
just,
I give hugs. The hugs are free. So yes, I would appreciate a hug. Yeah, of course. I can admit that. I have had heart-to-hearts with many people in the industry, and you're at the top of that list, Dan, who have told me what a gift this is for me. A gift. So I was given a gift. They may not even be thinking about me as but I have a gift going forward, and I've had many moments in the last 2 to 3 weeks.
Yourself a point.
Yeah, again, I'm sorry. 2 to 3 weeks where people who are in the industry that I don't know, who are just aware of me, who have given me a gift that I don't have anxiety about May 24th and August 31st and the next whatever years of my career. I have no anxiety for that because I know I am appreciated. I know it was not unnoticed that I was on TV for 23 years for a show that made an imprint and did some wonderful things. I know that's known. I have no fear. I don't need someone to tell me it every single day.
Well,
the punctuation's coming, so there should be a conversation.
But just so you know, and I know you know this because I know you know the power of television. I know you know the power of feelings. Just so that you know, Jeremy Taché says that you are his greatest inspiration. Now, that is a lovely compliment and also an insult.
And defined.
He was incredible with the bachelorette party at the baseball game last week.
Hey, thanks, Tony.
I haven't sent you that note yet, Jeremy, but it's on my things to do list. I said this stupid thing that I was going to reach out to everybody who said something to the show. Now I'm starting my website, Dan. Can you give me a plug?
Yes, please. Here, the floor is yours.
Reali.com.
No, but hold on. If I may, I look to support everything that unspools in Tony's future here. And so
there's going to be a lot of unspooling.
Tell the people where and what they can find where they look for you.
Well, I want to connect with people like Jeremy, but even, I've been getting a lot of letters throughout my career. I've been getting books sent to me and vice versa. These are about sports. These are about sports casting. But more often than not, they're about some of those more heartful stories, not the too serious, as was called, the more heartful stories. I was on the phone yesterday, Dan, with a phone number that was left on the bottom of a letter that I've been trying to call for a week. And there was no one picking up on the other end of that phone. And I was worried. And I had someone pick up on the other end of that phone yesterday. And right when I sign off with you, I'm getting called. So yesterday's pickup was, I can't believe you actually called. Today's phone call is going to be talking about exactly how heartfelt his letter was to me and why somebody needs to be talking to him right now. So I want to be doing that in spaces as well. And this is sports conversations as well. But on my website, TonyReali.com, I'm going to have some buttons, and I'm working with tech people where we can have this connection and forums where we can have the great sports debates that I was having with everybody, and Stu included, experts and Stu that I had on Around the Horn. I want to go around the horn with the average viewers, our average sports fans, our fans.
We got to go, Reali.
Okay.
All right, quickly.
And there's a YouTube page too.
All right, we're going to put it up here for you. We're going to put the graphics up for you. There's a YouTube page too, but Stugotz has an important question for you as punctuation.
All right, very quick. Panelists for your life, okay? You have to choose one of these guys. They go on Around the Horn. They have to win the game or you die, okay?
Yes.
Bob Ryan, Woody Page, panelists for your life.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Bob Ryan would win the debate. Woody Page would be the one left standing with life. You said for life, then Woody Page is going to survive.
Cowardice in that answer.
No cowardice. You asked me who would be surviving for their life. Woody Page.
No, you need to choose one panelist. They need to win Around the Horn. Otherwise, you die.
That's
okay?
right.
Sarah Spain. Sarah Spain.
Sarah Spain.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Really?
Wow. Commish.
finger on the laser beam and we're about to explode planet Earth, and I needed somebody to win the arguments and do it in an around the horn way, prove their opinion, do it in an entertaining way. Maybe the commish, Sarah Spade.
Good seeing you, Tony. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
I love you, Dan. The middle of June, I'm coming for a full week in Miami.
Love you, buddy.